Hello guys, I hope you have a good evening, and today we're gonna review Atelier Marie Remake, The Alchemist of Zalborg. Marie Remake, The Alchemist of Zalborg is upcoming latest installment in the ever-rising Atelier series. As a remake of the first ever game in the series, the game has a lot to prove, and as a long-time fan of the series, I came into the game a bit skeptical. Thankfully, after several hours with the game, I'm happy to say that my fears about the game were most unfounded. Atelier Mary follows the titular young woman Mary, who we learn isn't good at school, has repeatedly failed her alchemy studies. However, she's provided her own atelier for 5 years and is given one last chance to create an item sought alchemy that will impress his professor in order to graduate. However, to do so, player must first gain a lot of experience by gathering items, defending enemies, completing quests, meeting people, and living up. The game has a very loose narrative as player will spend more time searching for items, synthesizing, and fighting enemies. However, between these moments, players will also have the opportunity to learn about character, their party the longer they spend time with them. What's more, as you progress through the game, random events will occur where character will have conversations with Mary so the visual novel style dialogue system where players can learn more about Mary and her friends. Several of these segments will also have players make an item or fetch ingredients for character for extra money and XP. The only issues with these systems is because they occur randomly, it's easy to forget some character because there are often a lot of time between events. Upon booting the game, I instantly noticed how drastically different the remake is from the original game. Models have entirely changed from pixelated to 3D models, object and environment models are crisp and smooth, animations are definite, colors are more vibrant, environments are dynamic and lush. And more additionally, with the power of modern system, players can now move freely in each location in the game, including the town. Instead of moving to areas from a menu like the original version, closed locations are also fully modeled, as opposed to the partly modeled 2D rooms in the original versions. What's more, the gameplay is a mix of random encounters and encountering enemies out in the open in dungeons and levels. Lastly, the game's music has also been remade to sound new yet similar to the old soundtrack. There is even a toggle to switch between the old and new soundtrack for those who want to really feel the nostalgia in terms of gameplay. The game offers player a normal mode and easier, while the unlimited mode provides players a more relaxed, non-timed experience and the cost of some events to normal mode carries over its time limit system of 5 years from the original game. Due to this, every action you perform will take days to complete, reducing the overall times you have left. A noticeable element of the game is that there aren't many missions that progress the story. Players are instead given a list of generic objectives and the special guests at the start that are important to learn about the game. As such, you will be encouraged to take in guests from local pub, all of which have a time limit, hire people to add to their party for battles during said quest, or just explore and grind out dungeons and fight bosses, which are by far the most fun I had with the game's combat. While there aren't a lot of bosses, the ones you fight have a nice balance of being challenging and engaging as they force players to utilize all the tools and knowledge they accumulate in the game, like bringing specific party members to a boss fight to deal more damage and using restorative items you earned or mage sought synthesis to gain an advantage. Quests are structured in a unique and creative way akin to retro RPG games. Players will be promoted by random NPCs or the pub owner about a mission like a brand of this hiding out in the cave, and it's up to the player to fight and defeat them. What's great is that there are several types of missions like this, many of which have interesting narrative outcomes, like villain turning a new leaf and seemingly important character you're facing later. In terms of combat, players fight enemies via turn-based combat and likely several other titles in the series. Players can fight with basic attacks, special moves, guarding, and items. Combat is incredibly simplistic, which isn't a surprise for the first game in the series, but it can also be challenging as several enemies will take grinding and strategizing to defeat. When not fighting enemies or gathering resource, player will also indulge in several minigames that entirely randomly occur in certain dungeons and areas or are linked to some guest. All that said, while the game provides plenty of freedom to do whatever they choose, it also does so in a limited way via its time system, as it forces players to worry about whether or not the quests or actions they are doing are worth the time in its story mission and events. It still did stop me from feeling like I wasn't doing anything or making significant progress outside of grinding out levels. Thank you for watching, guys. Goodbye.